Hello and welcome to another episode of the Asian Seller Podcast. I'm your host, Meghla Bhardwaj, and on today's episode, we're going to be talking about ROI for your Amazon business. And to talk about this, I have with me Per-Ola from SellerMetrix. Hi, Per-Ola. How are you doing today?
Hi, Meghla. Just fine. How are you?
I'm doing great. Just staying home, staying away from the virus.
Yeah, likewise.
So, Per-Ola, you're originally from Sweden, right? But you're based in Singapore. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What is your background? How did you get into this e-commerce industry, and how do you help Amazon sellers?
Sure. So I studied in Singapore as an exchange student, and this is 2009, 2010. And this is where I met my now wife, Carolina. And we went back to Europe, but decided that we missed Singapore and we wanted to come back. So we came back in 2013-ish and been living here since. We got into Amazon selling around 2015, so about 5 years ago now. And it was a friend of a friend who was selling on Amazon. So we heard about it. And at that time, I was doing mostly IT. But we just dove right in. We started listening to podcasts just like yours and learned how to get started. And just dove right in. Started selling. So with my IT background, right? So what I realized quite quickly was that when you're selling on Amazon, the reporting inside of Amazon is lacking, to say the least. So it's very difficult to find your profitability, different key metrics, track specific products over time, and so on. So that's how I was led into starting SellerMetrix. So I started that about 3 years ago, and it's grown to the point where this is all I do now, it's really my passion as well. So it fits for that reason.
Right. So are you currently selling on the US marketplace and Europe, or which marketplaces are you selling in?
So all European marketplaces and US. US is definitely the biggest for us. Mm-hmm. And also Singapore, obviously being based here, also in the Singapore market, but that one is very small for the time being. I don't know if you tried it yourself, but it's they are barely starting out. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, now with everything that's going on with coronavirus, I guess all of the e-commerce marketplaces are kind of topsy-turvy, and only certain products are selling really well, whereas non-essentials are not really selling too well. So how are your sales doing right now, especially in the US marketplace?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And we see that as well, that there's been a shift. Even though e-commerce as a whole has gone up, there's been a shift from non-essentials to essentials. Over time, though, for your listeners, it's going to recover. So even if you sell non-essentials, we're all going to come out of this crisis stronger as an e-commerce seller, all of us, as this shift will help all e-commerce sellers. But yeah, for us, we definitely seen a downturn, perhaps 20% reduction in sales. And what I see is it's very volatile. Like it can be really down some days, and other days it's like normal. And I guess it is depending on whatever information the government comes out with. There is like a knee-jerk reaction to that, which we see in our sales data quite quickly. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about ROI. And this is specifically for new Amazon sellers who are just starting out. I think what happens many times is when sellers start out, they don't consider all of the various costs that are involved in running an Amazon business. Sometimes these sellers are misled by gurus online who say that, hey, this is so easy and all you need is, a few $1,000s and you can easily do this. But it has to be run as a business, and there are a lot of costs associated with it. So first of all, tell us, why do you think ROI is more important than profit?
Right. So yeah, I noticed this, and it took some time for me to realize as well that ROI is really the most important metrics when you're starting out, because all of us, we have limited capital, or even very limited capital. You mentioned some people coming in with a couple of $1,000s. For these sellers, it's more important than for anyone else that really they look at ROI and not profit. The reason is because this metrics is what really determines how fast you will grow your business. So it is the relationship between your profits and your investment. So if you're having a very low ROI, it means that you're making very big investment, but you're getting very little money back in relationship to that investment you're making. And the opposite is true if you're having a very high ROI. So what should you aim for? So I can go into a little bit more details regarding this. In short, you want to hit above 100% ROI. This means that you make an investment and you double it, and you want to see that doubling within 6 months. So this is basically the basics, right? Now, there's a few things to drill into here. So when you make an order for a product, so let's say you have $1,000 on your account and you place an order for a product. Now you ship it over to the US and you start selling it. If you have 100% ROI and you sell it off in, let's say, 6 months, it means that in 6 months you will get it back and an additional $1,000. So you will be at $2,000 in 6 months. But it's still not a lot of money. You make another order at that point, and 6 months later you will be at $4,000. Now, a lot of people, that's not a business. So really what you want to be thinking about is, one, having more capital to begin with, and two, making sure that you have that at least 100% ROI. So in that way, you can grow faster. If you take another example, if you have a 20% ROI, it makes you make a $1,000 investment and you have $200 more 6 months later. So $1,200. And then, you're going to have maybe about $1,500 1 year later. So really, you can see the difference is make when you're looking at a 20% ROI versus 100% ROI. And if you look at, that's why when someone tells you, for example, I have a $5 per product margin, it means nothing, because what investment are you making to generate that $5 profit? I mean, that's really the key here, because if you're making a, let's say, $20 investment to make that $5 profit, it means that you have a 20% or 25% ROI. It's not particularly good, you see. So that's why when someone says, well, my profit, I make $5 a product, well, that means nothing. That means absolutely nothing. Or even the profit margin can be misleading because of that. There's certain products that can have a pretty high profit margin in percentage, but their ROI is lower than for other products that are having a let's say, lower profit margin. So that's how these metrics like profit per product and profit in percentage can be quite misleading. The key metrics is really, if you want to grow your business, the ROI, and it's going to determine how fast you can grow. So really, I wrote an article about this a while ago, and I included some examples where it was really clear that, over a 2-year period, you're going to see a huge difference by having a good ROI compared to a lower one. And again, what you want to aim for is about 100% or more. I've seen people having 200% ROI, and obviously they grow incredibly fast and they can build a real business. But if you are just starting out and you're looking at your ROI for your product that you're about to launch, and you see a 50% ROI, then what I suggest that you do is look at the amount of money that you're going to invest. Let's say it's $1,000, $2,000, and take it 50%. So let's say you invest $2,000, 50% more you're going to have 6 months later. And is this a sum that you're excited about? And if not, then you need to maybe rethink the product selection, or you need to go and get a job and generate more capital before you get started. So that's really the key advice that I would say regarding ROI. That you should look at that. And the calculation is very simple, right? Look at the ROI, look at the capital that you're having, and look 6 months later. That's just an arbitrary number. Maybe you sell it off in 3 months, but yeah, just as now, like a benchmark, look at 6 months. Yeah.
Right, that totally makes sense. And then what are some of the, costs that we need to consider when calculating ROI? Because of course there's a product cost and there's a shipping cost, then there's FBA fees and everything. Then there's also, if you're just starting out, there are some startup costs, like you maybe have to get your brand registered and your UPC codes and all of those things. So what are, in a nutshell, what are the various groupings, I guess, of costs that people need to consider when calculating ROI?
Sure. So I think all the things that you mentioned is great, and it's I think it is what most sellers look at when they're starting out. The one thing I think that they miss oftentimes are the refunds, because the refunds can be quite expensive. Amazon is very generous towards the customers. If a customer wants a refund, Amazon will give it to them. And the customer can return the product in whatever state they want, broken, without box, not sellable at all. They get their money back, and you're sitting there as a seller thinking, what the hell? Like, I just lost a lot of money here. But that's how it works. Amazon is still a great opportunity, but it's important to factor this in when you're looking at your profit. So how much does it cost, right? Well, just as a quick kind of again, benchmark to kind of help, every seller will have a unique situation. If you're selling clothing, you're going to have a super high return rate. But if you're selling a cheap item that is, you get what you expect, like a spoon, it's a spoon, it works as a spoon, like you're not going to have a high return rate. But any type of electronic product, any type of clothing, you're going to have a much higher return rate, as much as 20-25%. Now, that's a cost of your profits. So essentially what you need to do is look at the estimated profit and just reduce it by at least 20% if you're selling clothing, or reduce it by 10% if you're selling electronics, or if you're selling any type of more commodity-based product, cheaper products, around 5, 4, or even towards 3%. But that's really the lowest you can get. So that's just as a quick benchmark for your listeners to adjust their profit and their expectations when it comes to factoring in returns. Because I know that a lot of people are not, and I know that when I started out, I wasn't either. I wasn't even thinking about this refund. I just looked at the profit and was like, yeah, this looks amazing. And then I dove in and I realized at that time I was selling a size-based product, and I thought, oh dear, yeah, this is this is expensive, because we saw about 20% return for this specific product.
Yeah, that's, I think, great advice. And of course, as you said, it varies from product category to category. Apparel and footwear maybe, is the highest, but of course electronics too. And also gift items, a lot of, there are so many returns right after Q4.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good advice. And what are some of the other, metrics that sellers should be paying attention to in their Amazon business?
Sure. So with SellerMetrix, we look at all the Amazon related fees. So what we do is, if you're selling on Amazon, you can get on SellerMetrix, which is a dashboard that we have built where you can really see what is your profit for each product, the ROI, the return rate, all of these things. You have it there nicely in a cool looking dashboard. You can still get this information from Amazon, but you need to do it through reports, Excel files, and you need to combine them, and it's quite tricky, to be honest. One thing that we do also with SellerMetrix that I think is really cool is looking at sessions and conversion rate. So sessions is the amount of clicks that you're having to your product listing, and the conversion rate is how many of those are actually buying the product. Why this is important is that you can have a product that is struggling, and it could be for two different reasons. One is that you don't have any sessions, which means that people are not coming to your product listing. Maybe you're not ranking well. Maybe you don't have a good main image. or your title is bad, but for some reason, customers or potential customers are not clicking to your product listing. This is a low sessions number. Or you have a low conversion rate. This is a different type of product. You know the customers are there, but you're not capturing them. Maybe you need to work on your copy inside of your product listing. Maybe your secondary images are not good enough, or you're not doing a good enough job to convey them or to justify the price that you're having. Maybe the price is too high, but it's a completely different product to having no sessions. So this is also something that we've integrated in SellerMetrix, which is available there for active Amazon sellers, and I think is really important to understand your products. And when everything is going well, you don't ask these questions. Usually, you just see that check coming to your account. But when things are starting to go bad, this is when you start thinking, what is wrong here, really? Why isn't this product as good as it used to be? And this is really, I think, the most important time to look at, why, what could be the reason. And sessions and conversion rate could tell a very important story of why sales are down.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point because, you want, if you know the conversion rates and the sessions and all, then you know what to fix, right? If the conversion rates are low, then you know that there's a problem with your listing, perhaps.
That's right.
Or your images, and you can kind of optimize your listings to improve your conversion rate and improve sales. So tell us a little bit more about SellerMetrix. Does this tool also help with product research, or what are the various aspects of sellers' Amazon business that this tool helps with?
Right. So we don't do product research. We are a tool specifically for Amazon sellers who are currently selling.
Okay.
And it's integrated with Singapore, Japan, India, all European marketplaces, and of course, North American marketplaces. So if you're selling on Amazon and you want to get a better understanding of your business, better insights, have your profit calculated, and get insights into all of these metrics that we're talking about, ROI and sessions and conversion rate, then SellerMetrix is the tool for you. You can do other things as well. So we have built a dashboard that is specifically made for refunds, because as we talked about earlier, refunds is a pretty expensive cost that you're having when you're selling on Amazon. And also, there's a few more things that are important regarding refunds. One thing is that Amazon gives the money back to the customer right away after he has requested a refund. And then he has 45 days to return the product to Amazon. But oftentimes, or sometimes, he doesn't. Okay? Maybe he forgets. Maybe he didn't want to begin with. He just wanted a refund and keep the product. Now, Amazon should reimburse you for that amount, because this refund needs to be reversed now back to you because the product was never returned. To get this information from Amazon is very tricky. You need to download, again, different CSV files, reports, open it in Excel and combine it. And in SellerMetrix, we made it available so that you can easily just filter out which products have not been returned, or which refunded products have not been returned. There they are. You see the order ID. You can copy paste them into Amazon and open a case and request to get refunded back. So in SellerMetrix, there is the whole profitability key metrics type of aspect, which is our key features. And then we also have the refunds, which I just mentioned. Another important aspect of refunds is that in SellerMetrix, you can also see the reason for the refund. So if a customer requests a refund, sometimes they will also leave a comment. And this comment you will see available in SellerMetrix, so that you can understand if you're having a problem with one of your products. Let's say that you're selling an electronic product and there's a certain button that is not working as it should. You can read those comments and you can understand exactly why they returned the product. The button not working. You read another one, the button not working, etc. Now you can talk to your factory and say, hey, we have a problem here with the button, and address it. Otherwise, oftentimes it's just a refund and you don't really know why, and you can't do much about it. Other things we do with SellerMetrix is you can see all your orders. You can drill down to each specific order and see the profit, discounts that you be giving out. All of these type of data is available in SellerMetrix. I'm thinking of what else you can do. We also have a global dashboard. So if you're selling on multiple marketplaces, for example, in Europe, UK, Germany, or if you're selling in the US and Singapore, we have a global dashboard where you can see all of this data combined in one interface. You can choose what currency you want. You want to see it in Singapore dollars. You can do that, and you don't need to log into, one Seller Central, check the data, and then another one and check the data. You have everything combined in one. That's also a really cool feature, I think, that we made for our international sellers.
Right, that sounds very useful and also very efficient. So how is SellerMetrix different from some of the other similar tools out there that offer similar functionalities?
I think it depends. Sessions and conversion rate were one of the few who have. That's one way. Global dashboard, if you're selling on multiple marketplaces, there's not a lot of softwares out there that can combine the data. We also have a mobile app. So if you're on an Android or iPhone device, you can download a mobile app and check it there as well. That's also a big differentiator. It really depends on which software we're looking at. But we don't do product research. So if you're just starting out, we can help you with that. Those are some of the differences.
Awesome. And what is the cost for subscription?
So we have at least attempted something that we call a fair pricing. So if you're a very, very small seller, you can use SellerMetrix for free. It is completely free, lifetime free, if you're having below 100 orders per month. So this is equivalent of about 3 to 4 units per day. You can use it for free as much as you want, all features included. Then it grows. The second tier, I think, is up to 2.5 or 3,000 orders a month. You can get, again, all features, and it's $15. And then it scales to 45 and I think 89 for enterprise users that are selling, tens of thousands of orders. It's $89. So that's at least what we have attempted. A lot of other softwares, you pay one fixed price, and it can be quite a lot for beginners and very little for big users. So what we have attempted is a tier structure where you basically pay if you're a small seller. You don't need to pay at all.
I think that's really good. I mean, that's something that MailChimp, for example, also does. It charges you based on the number of subscribers that you have in your list. And that totally makes sense because, as a new seller, it becomes very difficult to pay for all of these software packages and all. And of course, as a new seller, you're mostly focused on product research. So most of them, have access to Helium 10 or some of the other apps that are out there for product research. I think that's a really good pricing strategy, and it'll be very welcome by sellers. So how can people find more information about SellerMetrix? How can they sign up? And do you have a special offer for all of our listeners today?
Yeah, absolutely. So to all of your listeners, we're going to do an extended free trial. So it will be a 60-day free trial, and we can put a link to that on the Asian Seller website, I suggest.
Yeah.
If they want to read more about SellerMetrix, they can also go to sellermetrix.com. That's metrics with an X. And they can ask us questions there as well. We have a chat, and we try to be available at all times. So if they're having any questions, they can always write to us there.
Yeah, and so when you say free trial, this is for people who have more than 100 orders, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. That sounds really exciting. Okay, Per-Ola, well, thank you so much for your time today and all of the information that you've shared. And once things get better over here in Singapore, let's try to meet up. Maybe we can organize a meetup over here, a physical meetup where we meet, like face to face, and get you on as a speaker, and you can share more information about your experiences selling on Amazon.
Absolutely. Really looking forward to that after so much time at home. Yeah, I can't wait to meet up. So yeah,
Me
let's stay in
too.
touch.
Absolutely. I think just staying home for a few weeks now. I don't know how long this is going to go on. I hope this ends soon, but I think all of us are just roaring to go attend live events now.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, you take care, Per-Ola, and I'll see you around.
See you, Mega. Bye-bye.
Bye.